The best of the morning X. 99X.
Crews pulled more bodies from the murky Arkansas River with the help of sonar and large cranes after a deadly bridge collapse. The number of confirmed deaths rose to 7 yesterday after 4 bodies were taken out of the water. Officials plan to resume the search this morning. A 500-foot section of the I-40 bridge collapsed on Sunday morning after a barge rammed into the bridge.
You know, within 6 months ago, that happened in Corpus Christi, and my dad was freaked out because, every day he goes over the Harbor Bridge in Corpus Christi, and they had the same exact thing. A barge doesn't make the clearance, takes out a big chunk, and cars just started tumbling into the water.
Unbelievable.
You know, I don't have a lot of phobias. I have a lot of issues, but I don't have a lot of phobias. I do not like driving on bridges. I have never liked driving on bridges.
What brought that on? What scared you? What was the first thing?
The first time I ever went on a bridge, and you think
you thought it was going to fall.
You think it's going to fall. And I know that when I lived in L.A., from time to time I'd have to drive down over the Long Beach Bridge, and I mean, it is just, I just do not like bridges.
This was in Weber Falls, Oklahoma.
We're very fortunate to have gotten a hold of Mrs. Goldie Alley, and Mrs. Alley and her husband Max were driving on the bridge, and we're in one of the cars that actually plunged into the water. And first of all, thank God we can talk to you this morning, Mrs. Alley.
Yes. Now, our car was the only one that didn't go in the water.
It did, because it says here in the AP report, that's interesting, the AP report says that your car had gone into the water. Obviously, they got it wrong.
When that bridge collapsed, it didn't go all the way in the water.
Oh.
But on the other side, it did go all the way in the water.
So you fell off the bridge onto more bridge that had already fallen.
Yes.
I see. And
yes.
Was your car on the section of bridge as it fell the 60 feet, or did your car free fall 60 feet?
No, our car fell 60 feet. That bridge was already down when we got there, when we drove off.
I see.
And we drove that highway, you wouldn't believe how many times.
Do you have a fear? Have you ever had a fear of bridges just from driving over them so many times?
I think it's entered, your mind sometimes. What would you do if the bridge would collapse,
Do you remember anything? Do you remember what those 60 feet were like?
Well, it was just, you was in the air. We was just driving along. My husband is an evangelist. He's a preacher.
Uh-huh.
And we was going to a church, and he was supposed to preach there that morning. And just all at once, my husband said, well, Goldie, I don't remember this highway having a hill. And then all at once, we was in the air.
Unbelievable.
And I just said, well, Max, what happened? And about that time, we hit that concrete.
Oh.
And it was, our airbags came out.
They did.
And, but I guess the joke was, and we did have on our seatbelts.
Yeah.
But that joke, going down 60 feet, it's just, I guess that's just what broke my husband's back.
Did that feel like a roller coaster? I mean, when you leave the road and all of a sudden you're just going down, did the nose go forward, or did you stay level, or?
No. Well, now our truck landed on the 4 wheels.
It did.
But it really went down because the front of our truck, I mean, it's total.
Oh, I can imagine.
So you hit the nose and then it fell back onto the 4 wheels.
Yes.
Did it feel, that feeling on a roller coaster when you get the butterflies in your stomach and it feels like...
You don't have control.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. No, I didn't get no butterflies.
It didn't feel like that sense of just...
No, because, see, it just happened so sudden, and we know it. We knew it wasn't right. It wasn't like being on a roller coaster, because when you get on a roller coaster, you're on a ride, right?
Right.
And see, you didn't expect this. It just happened so sudden.
And you guys were having a calm conversation throughout that 60 feet? Like, I don't remember this being a hill, and...
Well, that's what my husband said when we went over, and I just said, well, what happened? And, I mean, it's just all at once. The truck went down and hit that, and it went to smoking, and so we got out. My husband said, get out, Goldie, it may catch on fire.
And he couldn't move, obviously.
Well, he did.
How?
I know he did. Yes, he did, because he got out of that truck, and he reached over to try to help me. I couldn't get out my door. My door was but I could get out of his. So we went out the same door.
Yeah.
And then, we just kindly walked around, and he leaned against the bridge. I mean, against that thing that was holding the part we was on, he was kind of leaning up against that.
I guess it just happened so fast you really didn't have time to process exactly what was happening.
That's right.
And that's probably a good thing because, you didn't panic.
No. Because, we was very thankful when we got out alive. It just wasn't our time to go. God spared our life.
He sure did.
Yes,
he sure did. And you have your injuries are what now?
Okay, I have a couple of broken ribs, and my kidneys had blood in them, my urine. So I guess kind of it done something there,
And your husband's back is
and my
broken.
husband's back's broken.
Well, thank God you're both alive.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
All right, well, thank you.
Thanks for talking with us.
Mrs. Alley, who was spared, her life was spared over the weekend.
Fell off the bridge, but fell onto more bridge and not into the waters.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you for taking time
Thank
to talk
you very
to
much.
us.
Uh-huh.
All right,
Thank
you
you
have a
for
wonderful
calling.
day.
You
Get well
have a
soon.
good day.
Bye-bye, you too.
Bye-bye.
Good
Man,
God.
can you
Getting me
imagine
chills listening to
going
that
off
story.
the end of that thing?
But, the way she describes it, she describes it like they were having this conversation on the way down, like, Max, what's happening? Wow.
The best of the Morning X. 99X.